Welcome back everyone, it's Aric from Rare Candy, and today I'm coming at you with my second ever Q&A video. We did I think one of these a couple months ago, and right now I'm in the middle of prepping Evolving Skies content. I'm actually in between editing my set review as we speak, and I thought while there is kind of a lull of content on the channel, this could be a fun way to interact with you guys and the community, kill some time while I am prepping some of this I think higher priority content that we have coming up on the horizon now. So basically over there on the community tab of the channel, I just made a post where people could submit their questions. And also I made a post over on Patreon as well, where patrons can submit their questions as well. And I am giving a little bit more priority to our patrons here for these types of videos, for this one, and of course, any future ones. So if you guys do want to help support the channel and also get, your questions, basically guaranteed to be in these videos, I'll have a link down below in the description if you want to check out the Rare Candy Patreon as well. And side note too, like, what should we call this segment? I think last time I made this video I just called it a Q&A, but I see we could call it like the candy Q&A or candy questions. I don't know, what do you guys think? I want to hear your suggestions down below in the comment section. Don't really know how I'm going to name this series, but let me know what you guys are thinking about that. So in these videos, you guys can ask about really anything that you want. You can ask about me as a person, Rare Candy, the state of the game, any decks or cards you guys might be wondering about. Really kind of anything goes. But if you guys do enjoy these videos and you guys want to see more of these in the future, be sure to smack that like button. It really does let me know that you guys enjoy this content, and it does help beat my arch nemesis, the YouTube algorithm. It helps get this video seen by more people, so I definitely would appreciate that. But yeah guys, I'm gonna quit rambling. Let's dive into the questions and see what's on the community's mind. So for this first question, this was submitted by London Sean over on our patron only Discord server. Actually, Sean, not sure what your username is on Patreon, so let me know that. That way I can properly credit you over there for next time you get your question in a video. But Sean wants to ask, what do you know now that you wish you had known before you attended your first IRL event? So there's definitely a few ways I would like to answer this question, but I think the biggest takeaway would probably be body language. As weird as that sounds, body language actually is, it's something that's literally impossible to factor in when you're playing on PTCGO, but it's a big giveaway a lot of the times if your opponent is going to make a certain play, or if you might make a certain play. Sometimes you kind of get the vibe based off how a person is acting, how fast or slow they might be playing, if they have game or not. Sometimes if your opponent looks especially stressed, they might have a bad hand. You can kind of pick up on a lot of this stuff. And, I can't count how many times I've made plays different based on that, and it's wound up working out for me. Or, every once in a while it has not worked out. Sometimes people bluff. Bluffing's a real thing. In the TCG, it's happened to me where I forget what it was, but it was like back in 2012 for whatever reason. I remember like my opponent bluffing me at a cities, kind of like faking that they had a bad hand almost, and I made a play kind of like with that in mind, and he just completely checkmated me and had everything that he needed. So yeah, that type of stuff really does make a big difference, and something I would definitely take note of and try to be mindful of when you're playing in real life. So in this next question they asked, do you prefer the standard format or expanded in terms of meta and experience, etc.? So almost all the time, I usually prefer the standard format, and the reason for that is usually because of the much more limited card pool. The game naturally is just kind of slower and is at a lower power level. Expanded goes all the way back to black and white, and even with a pretty, at this point, lengthy ban list, the format is just so much more aggressive and fast than it is in standard, and that's really not my playstyle at all. My favorite formats in the history of the game have traditionally been the slowest formats, and expand just kind of throws that out the window and is just full of like tons of aggression. That's not to say I don't enjoy expanded. There's definitely been times where I really have enjoyed the format, but just I'd say more generally standard is usually where I find myself having the most fun. So for this question, they're going to ask a little bit about the post-rotation format. They are asking, do you think Shadow Rider will be good post-rotation without the likes of Gengar, Mimikyu, and Trebnoir to help set it up? So yeah, I do think losing the tag teams is a little bit annoying for Shadow Rider, just because it is nice to have these basics you can immediately throw down and are a little bit easier to set up than your VMAXs. But I don't think it's going to be too big of an issue losing them. It does kind of suck to lose some versatility in your attackers, but we still have Alchemy VMAX as a big heavy hitter. We also are getting Articuno in Evolving Skies as well. Still kind of remains to be seen if that is going to wind up becoming a staple in the Shadow Rider decks. But yeah, I think Shadow Rider is just going to kind of double down on Alchemy. Probably just play a thicker line of that, I would imagine, going forward. So yeah, it's always unfortunate to lose cards for your deck that were previously good, but I think Shadow Rider is still a solid enough card, and there's still other good psychic attackers to pair with it. So I think Shadow Rider will still probably be a good deck. So over on Patreon, Ryan Rydalk asked, what are your thoughts on how the TCG could better accommodate players while satisfying collectors moving forward? So if I remember right, I actually do think Ryan was asking this question kind of slightly in relation to like the supply shortages that we've seen over the past year for product and stuff like that. I think in relation to that, I actually think Pokemon can just kind of double down on what they've been doing in terms of giving out really solid cards on PTCGO. For the Players Cup, we've had a lot of really good full art promos being given out. And as long as they can keep doing that and putting good cards on the ladder, I know that's not physical product, but if you are a competitive player, PTCGO is the primary way people are playing right now. So if they can just keep giving more playable cards, playable staples, either on the ladder or as promos throughout the year, I think that is a really smart move going forward. Now for physical product, I actually really don't have a whole lot of criticisms. I think TPCI has been doing a fantastic job on that front with things like the trainers toolkits, the league battle decks, etc. I think it's actually probably the best time really ever in terms of TPCI's competitive products that they've been releasing. So I have nothing but good things to say on that front, but I definitely think if we are going to be continuing down the road of pretty much just PTCGO based tournaments for the foreseeable future, we do need, I think, more playable staples being given out more regularly. I definitely think that would be nice. And quick plug, if you guys do need code cards, you can actually get them from our friends at ptcgostore.com. You can use that coupon code RARECANDY to save yourself some money on your order. And Ryan and the rest of our patrons also have their own exclusive discount code for even bigger savings. They're going to have not only the booster pack codes, but also the codes for any of the pre-constructed decks and all that good stuff as well. So for this question, they ask, what are your thoughts on Ice Rider Umbreon with no path to the peak and Aurora Energies and Cincino? I guess that seems kind of cool because, it's sometimes hard to find a turn where you can boss because you want to be using Melody most turns because you're discarding your energy. So I understand the Umbreon in there. That seems kind of cute. Running 3 stage 1s could be starting to get a little clunky. Effectively 3 stage 1s, even though 2 of them are VMAXs. I think it makes sense on paper. My knee-jerk reaction would be I probably prefer the more streamlined approach, just playing things like it's Cincino or Inteleon to help get you set up and just kind of going a more consistent route, but it definitely is an idea worth experimenting with, it seems. So for this next question, they're going to ask, are you into any other games apart from PTCGO? Actually, yes, the reason this video came out later in the week as opposed to early in the week is because I was actually playing the Halo Infinite technical preview this past weekend. That was normally when I would do my video editing, but as you can see, things didn't quite go that way. But yeah, I'm a big Halo fan. Very excited for Halo Infinite. We'll see how that ultimately pans out. Overall, I feel like it is hard to make time for video games and other games just in general. Just because when I'm not at my day job, I kind of have to be doing content creation and Pokemon TCG stuff. So it is kind of hard to fit in other games into my free time. But yeah, I love Halo. Love, of course, other Nintendo franchises like Zelda, Metroid, etc. But yeah, if there's a new Zelda game or new Halo, those are like the big 2 franchises that no matter where I'm at in life, no matter how busy I am, I'm gonna carve out time to play those. So those are some of my other favorite video game franchises, at least. Up next, Fred Neilan from Patreon is going to ask what decks stand to lose the most and what decks end up being safer / better picks with Evolving Skies and the rotation. So this is actually a question we had kind of submitted in a bunch of different ways by a lot of people. Basically, people just want to know what's going to be good after post-rotation. And at this time, I don't have too many games under my belt right now with the new post-rotation format, especially with all of the new decks from Evolving Skies factored into the mix as well. So right now, my opinion might not be the best, just as a disclaimer. But my knee-jerk reaction, at least, would be decks like Eternatus still pretty much keep most of their core components. Also think Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX still looks to be very good. I think in particular, decks that can hit the bench only sort of get better almost in a way. You know, I know Rapid Strike Urshifu does lose things like Karate Belt and some minor stuff like that from the pre-rotation format, but being able to not have to ever worry about Mew or really any genuine good way at blocking bench damage is absolutely massive for Rapid Strike Urshifu. But I think overall, a lot of the current big decks still are going to be pretty decent going forward. Victini VMAX, like I said, Rapid Strike Urshifu Eternus, I think a lot of these decks still keep most of what they need to be functional going forward. So like I said, it's still pretty early for me personally. I haven't gotten in too many games in the new format just yet, but those are some of my early knee-jerk reactions. So this is definitely a fun question they ask. What is your favorite standard format of all time? What is your favorite deck in that favorite format? So this is definitely a tough question. Like a lot of people who've been playing for, you know, most of their lives at this point, I do have a lot of nostalgia for the like 2006, 2007 era of the game. That's when I actually got back into the game after a hiatus. So definitely a lot of love for that era. But I think that horse has kind of been beaten to death, honestly. Like it's kind of well known how good that era of the game was. But in more recent memory, I think actually one of the best modern eras of the game is actually the Lost Thunder format. You know, only like a couple years ago now. What was that, late 2018, early 2019, something like that, I forget. But yeah, I think even though it is a very recent point in the game, it's definitely, I think, among one of my favorite formats ever, because literally every play style of deck was well represented. We had stage 2 decks. We had a freaking Gardevoir deck that played 3 stage 2s. We had the Meganium deck, which was crazy, which played like 3 or 4 stage 2s as well. We had all basic decks. We had control decks, stage 1 decks, like literally any playstyle that you wanted, there was a viable deck to play in that format. And I think over the years, that is going to actually be looked back on as one of the better formats in the more recent era of the game. So I'm a little biased, but I think I'm going to have to pick Sceptile GX because I was like, kind of like, I guess the person who put the deck on the map, so to speak, for better or for worse. I don't know if you guys know the story, but I was involved in some controversy. Basically, I think it was actually the first regional where the set was legal. I was playing Sceptile, but I incorrectly submitted my deck list, and the only deck list I had that was properly submitted earlier from the night before was a Blacephalon deck. So halfway through the day, I'd been doing great with Sceptile GX all day. My only loss was to an auto loss against Grant Manley that I like scooped up after a one game that we played. And yeah, I was doing great the rest of the day. And midway through the day, I got deck checked, and the judges told me that, hey, I didn't submit my deck right, and if I wanted to keep playing, I had to play with the deck that I'd actually submitted, which was the Blacephalon one. So yeah, I was really annoyed because I had this 6 Sceptile GX deck, which was a great play for the meta that we were in. And I still made day 2 with Blacephalon, this deck I'd literally only played once before. So that was still kind of cool. But yeah, I was really looking forward to putting Sceptile GX on the map at that regional. It didn't quite happen, but I did win a League Cup with it. And the playstyle is really fun. It's a stage 2 deck with a stage 1. Has a really cool search engine. It's kind of like the old Garchomp Altaria deck from the Dragons Exalted format as well. But yeah, it was just a really good, solid deck with good matchups kind of across the board. I think your only bad one was really like control decks that I can remember. I forget, it's been a while, but yeah, I thought it was a really good play. Deck's a lot of fun. So you can probably still find my tournament report on YouTube if you guys want to see more about the deck. But yeah, I really did enjoy that deck, and I have a lot of love for that era of the game. So I definitely didn't expect this next question, but they asked, what were your thoughts on the OPOP, or otherwise known as the Omnipoke online play league that I participated in? Yeah, so super grateful for Jack and Joe over there at OmniPoke for including me. Thought the whole thing was a really cool concept, but for me, my issue with the online play league wasn't really so much with them, but more so my own schedule. Like already, guys, like I have zero free time. I feel like it's very rare for me to like have time for anything outside of content creation, and so fitting in an extra day somewhere to record a segment for the OPOP was something that was tricky for me personally, and with myself like consciously choosing to sit out playing competitively while kind of like the world's been shut down. I haven't put as much time honestly into play testing and stuff like that as rigorously as maybe I did back during 2019 2018 when events were up and running and stuff. So I'm sure my quality of play also wasn't as high as it would be on like a normal year as well. So yeah, any issues that I had with the OPOP were probably purely due to my own schedule and nothing against the actual event itself. But yeah, the whole thing was pretty cool, and nothing but love for the guys for putting all of that together. I know that's a lot of work on their part. So yeah, great job to the guys at OmniPoke for that. So for this question, they ask, how did Rare Candy start? Is it a team or just the channel's name? Is Aric the only member at the moment? So this is definitely a good question, and it actually kind of ties into another question that I got asked. I'm not sure if I'll put that one in the video as well, or if I'll just kind of combine both since they're kind of the same subject matter into this question. But yeah, so how Rare Candy started, it was me and my friend Marcus Gilles. We started the channel back during, I forget exactly the years, 2016 or 2017. It was like right during the States format, when that tells you how long ago it was, when States was an actual event. That was still happening back when Breakpoint had come out. That was the most recent set at the time. And yeah, so me and him started it, and we were the only creators for quite a while. I wouldn't say Rare Candy is a team, because I definitely think that has like a different meaning traditionally in the TCG. I would say Rare Candy was more of just kind of a collective of content creators. That's more of how I viewed it, more so than like a competitive team or anything like that. Now that dynamic has definitely shifted over the past year or so. As you can tell, I am currently the only member. There have been other members in the past. If you guys have been following the channel for a while, you've probably seen maybe even going back to Marcus back when he started the channel with me, but we've had other people on the channel like Zach Lesage, Sander Bennett, Carl Brown, etc. But right now, I am the only person on the channel, and right now in the foreseeable future, I think that is the way it's going to stay. I'm definitely not opposed to revisiting, adding more content creators to the channel yet again. But one thing, if I'm just being real with you guys, I feel kind of bad about the lack of stability on the channel over the past like year or so in terms of content creators coming and going, because it's honestly a big deal adding someone new to the channel. You find a channel that you like, you get used to the personalities on there, and then suddenly someone new pops up. You have to get used to this new creator. You might like them, you might not, and maybe sometimes within even a couple of months or whatever, they're gone again. And that's something I really have felt bad about. And people leave the channel for a variety of reasons. I've had people, like they just leave the game entirely, so obviously it doesn't make sense for them to keep making Pokemon content. Sometimes other things in life just get in the way, just like normal adult stuff like college and work and all of that stuff. Getting married. No bad blood, when these sorts of splits happen. It's kind of just what happens, guys. But in other times there are situations where people have been added to the roster, so to speak, and there's been little to show for, and so basically people come and go for a variety of reasons. But my big takeaway is that I don't like that sort of instability, and I don't feel comfortable adding more people back into the fold until I'm confident that there is like that level of stability, just because it kind of hurts the experience for you guys having to see content creators come and go, even if it's not for any particular like dramatic reasons or anything like that. So I'm definitely open to revisiting the idea of expanding the Rare Candy content creation or content creator roster at some point, but for the moment I like the stability of just having one singular creator on the channel, and in the foreseeable future I think that is how things are going to remain. But like I said, I'm not opposed to potentially revisiting this idea at some point. Alrighty guys, and for the final question of the video, coming in asking the hard questions, they ask, what food do you think is better, bananas or chicken nuggets? Bananas are probably objectively better, like better for you nutritionally. But I love me some chicken nuggies. Like I have like the diet of like an 8-year-old, guys. Like you probably don't know this, but I don't eat like any vegetables. I have like a huge sweet tooth, so I'm obviously team chicken nuggets all day. But I actually do like bananas too, but chicken nuggets are where it's at. Alrighty guys, that's going to wrap up our Q&A video today. I really do appreciate everyone who submitted questions for this video. If yours didn't make it into this month's video, I apologize. I am trying to keep these videos on a little bit of the shorter side. I don't want them to, you know, like I could easily make them into like an hour-long video, but I don't really want to do that. I want to keep them closer to like the 20-minute mark, something like that. So yeah, if yours didn't make it into the video, I do apologize, but just submit it next month whenever I post another community post asking for questions for these videos. I will do my best to get to your question next time. But again, thanks so much to everyone who submitted their questions, including our patrons over at patreon.com/rarecandytcg. And if you guys want to see more of these videos in the future, like I said at the beginning of this video, be sure to smack that like button and comment down below your thoughts. I would love to hear them. If you guys do want to take your support to the next level, you can, like I said, become a patron and guarantee that your question will make it into future videos in this series. Or you can also pick up some merch over at rarecandytcg.com. It would mean a lot. But as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.